I'm Ralphie Aversa from 95.5 PLJ. Been a minute since I've chatted with this guy, Emmy-nominated actor, platinum-selling recording artist, who is from Westchester, and it's a pleasure to welcome back home as, of course, he brings his Better With You tour to Irving Plaza tomorrow night, sold-out show, Mr. Jesse McCartney. Hi,
What's
Jesse.
up? That was quite the intro, Ralphie.
Yeah, you know, just like to the point.
Very
but
nice.
Obviously had to mention that you're back home.
Yeah,
Welcome back to the city.
Thanks, man. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, it's been, I think the last time, there may have been like a random run-in on a red carpet.
Probably.
But the last time we got to sit down and do this was in Scranton, Pennsylvania, when you had just been added to the New Kids on the Block tour.
Ah, good old Scranton.
Yeah, so we're talking almost 10 years ago now.
That's wild. I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were talking before about how you went to school with Mike Allen, one of my colleagues here at 95.5 PLJ, and I'm sure high school feels like an eternity, but even that long ago, I mean, do you remember what that was like as you had couple big bops there you dropped in 08 and 09 with the album and then got added to that tour?
Yeah, it was just it was another chapter in the book, I guess. I remember it was a really fun tour. We were doing sort of big sheds and arenas even with New Kids. I forget how long it was, but yeah, I mean, touring is kind of, you know, it's part of the job. It's actually why I'm in New York right now. I have a big show tomorrow night at Irving Plaza. So I'm back at it again, even 10 years later.
Now, the interesting thing about this tour is it's, again, behind a single, Better With You. A lot of people will tour behind an EP or a full-length album. Why did you feel the need to go on the road after releasing this song?
Well, I mean, you know, one of the cool things about being an independent artist is the fact that I've sort of accrued this fan base for such a long period of time, and over the years, they've sort of stuck with me that when you don't tour for 4 years, there's sort of like they have sort of, you know, they want to see you again. So after 4 years, I think it was just time to get back out there. The song seemed like it was saturating, that it was really connecting with the fans, that it was tickling some sort of nostalgic bone in many ways, I think, too, for them. So we are backing the song up with a full EP, too. It's not just the one song. And I am playing the entire EP live on stage. So there's a total of like four new songs and then a lot of throwbacks because they love to hear the old songs as well. But yeah, it's been interesting because I didn't know what it was going to be like to piggyback an entire tour off of one record. And we were a little sort of skeptical to do that, but it worked out. I mean, there's 17 sold out shows already around the country and climbing. So, well,
you have the luxury as both being someone who has the aforementioned fan base, but also being an independent artist, that you have that flexibility, I guess, where if you put out a song and you think it's doing well and then you also kind of need to tour, you can just go ahead and do that as you're doing now. As far as this 4-song EP, is it set in stone, done, ready to go? You got a release date and all that, or no?
I don't have a formal release date, but I'm going to release it by the end of the year. I have the next single is called Wasted, and that's coming out sometime this summer. So we've just sort of been, there's not really any rules anymore, you know, especially when you don't have a major label sort of breathing down your neck and telling you what to do. You can kind of just do what you want, which is really nice. So when Better With You came out, we kind of wanted to see what it was going to do, how people were going to react, and we had this overwhelming positive reaction that we wanted to just sort of run with. And like I said, let the song sort of saturate a little bit longer before releasing any music on top of it.
Now, you mentioned with Better With You, it kind of tickling that nostalgia bone. Nostalgia is definitely trendy. It's in right now. Was that something that you thought about as you created the rest of the EP as well?
Not at all. I think it's just the timing thing that I got lucky with maybe, but also, you know, I think that the song itself is appropriate for the time. I think that the song is a lift up your spirit kind of record. It, you know, especially right now where it feels very contentious. There's a lot of division in the country, and it felt like just people needed to hear something positive. And so I think that the timing of the song had a lot to do with its success as much as, you know, the melody even.
All right, so 4-song EP. Have you worked with anyone that maybe I would know or your audience might know of for this EP or no?
No. So for this EP, I worked with a small band of songwriters and a couple of guys that worked on Timbaland's or Timberlake's last project with Timbaland, producers, ghost producers and stuff. But this guy named Rob Knox, super talented producer, and he's worked under Timbaland his whole career. And Eric Hudson, who did a lot of stuff for Kanye in his time. And then this new songwriter, Brandon Burnett, and his girlfriend, Molly Moore. The three of us wrote the top line for Better With You together. So I had like sort of a small group of writers that we just kind of got in the studio intensively every single day and just kind of started banging out songs. And it was a good team.
How long, because I know, obviously, you know, over this span, you've traveled a little, you've done a little bit of acting as well. How long have you worked on this album, and how long have you been sitting on these songs?
I would say a year and a half. I'm bad with timelines, but it's, I would say maybe a year and a half, you know? And there's a lot of songs that I wrote that just weren't very good. So, you know, and that happens more often than not, you know? So there's a lot of songs that were written that I just don't feel are at the level that they need to be to release. But, you know, one of the things I'm going to try to do is when I get back from the road, get back into the studio and try to complete a full LP if I can. It's just been really tough. There's a huge college demand too. Like, I've been doing college shows every single semester for the last almost 2 years, every weekend, and it's great and it's awesome, and I get to sort of see my fans in different cities around the country. It's a really fun time. But by the time I get home, I'm exhausted, and the last thing I want to do is get into the studio. I just want to like rest because I have to leave the very next weekend for another show. So I'm trying to find like some more time blocked out to get the full album done.
What's the dynamic like for you at a college show? These kids that, you know, were, when they were first introduced to your music, were 8, 9 years old, and now they're 18, 19 with, you know, maybe a red Solo cup in their hand. Like,
it's dope. I gotta say, like, my fans, like the demographic, I got really lucky. You know, my earliest fans are fans of Beautiful Soul, so like 2005. So I have people in their late 20s, even early 30s, coming to my shows, and then like there was a second wave when Leavin' came out on the Departure album in 2008, 2009, and all those girls were 12, 13 are now in college. So the range has been really nice. And now some of these girls are like bringing their sisters, or even there's girls that have like 2, 3-year-old daughters, and they're showing up to the meet and greets, and I'm like, yes, a new generation, a new generation of fans. So it's great.
Jesse McCartney's here at Hackensack Meridian Health Stage 17. I'm Ralphie Aversa, of course, from 95.5 PLJ. Mentioned last time I got to sit down with you was backstage at New Kids. You also then went on to tour with Backstreet Boys. Which tour was more fun?
Oh, man. Well, I've done 2 Backstreet Boys tours, actually. I did one overseas. Again, timeline, but 2005 maybe. And that was a lot of fun because they were still like in party mode, Backstreet Boys. Like they were still like having a good time. They weren't like, they hadn't settled down yet. And then like 10 years later, I toured with them and they're like changing diapers on their tour bus, and like they were a different group of guys. Both totally, you know, fun, but just different. New Kids, I didn't interact with them as much as I did with the Backstreet Boys, for whatever reason. You know, sometimes when you're an opening act on a tour, you know, the headliner, either they were pushing a record too, I think, and they were flying in out of cities, and they had press and promo, and I know what that's like. There's like very little time to actually hang out. On the road, it can be a real grind. It sounds like it's all glamorous and fun, but actually, in fact, it's like I have a show tomorrow in Manhattan, and then we drive straight to Philly at 2 in the morning, wake up at 10 a.m., do a sound check, do a show in Philly, 2 a.m., leave Philly, go to New Jersey, wake up at 10 a.m., do a show in New Jersey. So it's like, if you don't get enough rest and sleep, you go down fast. So I didn't hang out with them as much with the New Kids tour.
The other difference, though, the big difference, and I'm sure you've certainly seen this in your career, from 2005, that first tour, to the second tour with Backstreet Boys, in 2005, you didn't have to really worry about social media.
That's true. That's true.
So you probably could party a little more and do a few more things that you didn't have to worry about people like me finding out about.
Yeah, no, there was definitely that as a factor. Now you have to look over your shoulder every second to see who's got their iPhone out. But Yeah, I mean, those were different times. Now we live in the constant state of sharing and interacting. You know, people come to my show now, and it's funny. Like during "Beautiful Soul," which is like a big throwback song that will start the record, and all the iPhones go up, and they're watching the show through their iPhone, and I'm on the other side, which always blows my mind that they've come to the live show only to watch it through a screen.
Have you ever, because I've talked about this with some performers, they get annoyed to the point where like they will specifically ask their audience to put down their phones. And obviously we've also heard of the extents that, say, performers like Dave Chappelle have gone to as well, where they have like the phone bag, so on and so forth. Have you ever even thought about broaching that, or?
Well, I think for stand-up comedy it's different because comedians don't want their material online. It ruins their whole act, and you can't write new jokes that quickly when you have an hour of jokes.
Right.
So that I totally understand, and I go to a lot of comedy clubs and watch comedy, and I'm all for it, putting your phone away, and it's a different audience. My fans, if I tell them to put their phone away, they're going to be so bummed, and I don't want to be a bummer. I'm not going to be like, hey, put your phone away. It's just not going to happen. So, and that being said, like during the meet and greets the next day, I'm like, oh, so for my like VIPs, they come backstage. I'm like, so here's the set list. They're like, we know, we saw it online. So, but I mean, you know, what can you do? It's the world we live in.
And you have, wait, so there's platinum VIPs as well, and
Yeah.
I saw a photo of them on your tour bus.
Yeah, so the platinum VIPs, they get like this special experience. They get to come back, hang out on the bus. I basically just shoot the breeze with them for like 15, 20 minutes, answer all their questions. I, personalize some set lists for them. We take a bunch of selfies. We do all the fun, millennial things that fans love to do.
It also like forces you to keep your bus somewhat clean and tidy.
Totally. That's my favorite part, is that like when we get on, the bus has been cleaned for the day. But no, it's really cool. And the fans have shown up in like record numbers on this tour, and for the meet and greets too. We do like a gold package too, where the fans can come and they take a photo, and then we do like a sound check party. So I'll sound check my in-ear monitors and take some song requests, sing some songs, and then answer their questions. And it's a fun. The whole show is become more of an interactive. It's not just a live performance now. It's also sort of like a hangout.
Do they ever throw, when you're taking requests, do they ever lob a Dream Street song at you, or
They
no?
try, but it's funny. Like my guitar player though, I told him, I was like, you're gonna get asked to play this song. Like, we already have 25 songs to learn. Like, don't let's not kill you by learning. But every single meet and greet, they're like, can you sing Sugar Rush? Like a bunch of them. But I don't know. I'd have to look up the lyrics. I haven't sung those songs in so long.
Now, the other obviously from your solo career though, you don't need like a prompter or anything like that, or do you? Did you?
I don't. So it was just so funny you said that, because we were just talking about that on the bus. Jocko, who's my guitar player, he also is Miley's guitar player, and he's like, dude, I don't know how you're doing 20 songs, because yesterday I did drop a lyric on stage. I messed up.
Oh.
And he goes. We were talking about, after the show, we always talk about who messed up on stage, and we have like $5 mess ups. Like if you miss a drum hit, $5 goes in the jar, kind of thing.
Right.
It's a joke, but so everyone last night was like, the show is so great. The show is so great. And he goes, Jocko goes, Jesse actually did miss one lyric, and but it was nice, but it was funny. And he goes, I'm actually surprised because Miley, a lot of artists, they'll have like prompters. She's also singing like 40 more songs, I think. So, I mean, I'm right at the threshold that if I had to memorize a few more, I'd probably need a prompter in the back.
And
but right now, it's up here.
It's. I would imagine the fact that you have co-written pretty much all of your stuff, right?
Yeah.
To some degree, that's got to help you learn or keep, memorize this stuff too, right?
And I've just been singing them for so long. I mean, there's a lot of songs that, aside from like the 4 or 5 new songs I'm singing on stage, like, I've been singing them for 13 years.
Wow, unbelievable.
10, 13 years, yeah.
You mentioned writing bad songs and writing good songs, and I remember actually Ryan Tedder telling me that when he's on the road writing, he like gave me a ratio, like for every like 4 he writes, maybe there's 1 good one, or maybe 5.
It's very generous of.
Maybe the ratio was a little large. Regardless, do you
run into 25%? No, I would say, yeah, 1 in 4 is pretty good. But Ryan also does have a ton of hit records. He's one of the most prolific writers of our time. I don't know. For me, maybe 1 in 10 are like worthy of like taking a second listen. The reason is because 9 of them don't get finished. I'm like, I bail. Like if I'm like verse and a chorus, I'm like, I don't like to dwell on. I don't try to like. If it's like going downhill, I don't try it. Like I just go down with the ship, and I'm like, let's start a new one. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
But has there been one song throughout your career that you almost bailed on, and you're thankful that you didn't?
That I'm thankful that I almost bailed on, but I'm thankful that I didn't bail on. Well, I mean, I didn't want to bail on Bleeding Love, but my record label bailed on Bleeding Love. And it's not their fault. Like, no one has the answer. Like, no one knows if somebody had the magic wand, like, you know, the industry would be in a much better position.
Of course.
But I'm just, you know, for them, they didn't feel it, at least for my project. And then that song sat around for like a year before Ryan was like, dude, we need to do something with this song. So that was one case. Leavin' also, like, I think I recorded it, but we were all a little skeptical of it being the first single. We were like, I don't know if this is going to be a out of the gate first single. Didn't feel like it had the energy of a first single. And Bob Cavallo, who was the head of Hollywood Records, the same label that we're not feeling Bleeding Love, was like, no, I'm telling you, this is a hit record. And he was right. It was a #1 record. It was the biggest song of the year at radio.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Jesse McCartney is here back home. When you come back to the city, man, what's like one thing that you, at least I know with even though you have a busy schedule, one thing you try to experience, do, see, eat?
I try to go downtown and check out new food spots if I can. I'm a huge foodie. I have a lot of friends that I grew up with from Ardsley that are now, you know, living the New York City life. So I try to catch up with some old friends and check out a couple of speakeasies or some cool bars downtown. And, you know, I love this city. It's so much fun. It's so much more fun now, like, as an adult. You know, I grew up here, but when I was 16, 17 when I moved to Los Angeles. I never got to experience the city as an adult. It's a totally different vibe.
All right, your go-to restaurant. Do you got like a spot for me?
I love Lupa, which is Mario Batali's Italian joint down in, I think it's off of Bleecker. I can't remember what street it's on actually, but it's like downtown. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite pastas ever.
Is that the spot with the neon sign in the window? Or am I thinking of something else? I might be thinking of something else.
Maybe. I don't know if it has a neon sign. It's like real small, really like boutique-y looking. You walk in, there's maybe like 8 tables in the front and a few tables in the back. Mm-hmm. Awesome Italian food. It's been there for ages. I think it's one of his staple spots. And then I just went to another place last time I was here, and I'm blanking on the name of it. But I try as often as I can, no matter what city I'm in, to try and like go online and look up like what the new spot is. Or
I was going to ask you, yeah. So like you'll just like anybody else, you'll Google and then go to like an infatuation or whatever.
Totally, yeah. Like any other person my age who's obsessed with food. You go on, you're like, all right, what's the new spot? Try to look up at pop-ups even. So yeah, I mean, I'm a huge foodie. And it's tough when you're on the road because you want to stay fit and you want to be in good shape to get on stage every night. But man, is it hard? Like I was just in North Carolina and they had like some of the best barbecue and I had to pass.
Oh wow!
I was bummed.
Good for you. Wow, that's strength though, right there. That's conviction.
Yeah.
I like that. Could you ever see yourself moving back to the city or no?
I would live here for a time. I think I could work here on something and live. I don't know if I could ever like wrap my head around living here. I thought maybe I could.
Yeah, go back to Ardsley, raise a family. It's a great place to raise a family, right?
Oh, in the suburbs maybe, but like in downtown Manhattan, last time I was here, I did like 10 days press junket, and I was at a hotel, and every single morning at 4 a.m., this one ambulance drove by and woke me up, and I just remember thinking like, A, I guess I just don't sleep as deeply as I once did, but B, like it's a rat race in Manhattan. Like, it's really crazy, and it's even crazier now. And I do love it, but it's I don't know if I could live here full time.
Well, now, too, though, I mean, you've been in L.A. for, 14 years?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously traveling and whatnot, but still, you got your spots there. You got your routine there.
Yeah, I got routine there. I have family there now, my friends, my girlfriend's there. It's like I've definitely planted my feet firmly in Los Angeles. But like if a theater came back around, or I wanted to go back to do something on Broadway or do something like on the stage, like I could totally see myself living here for a year or so, you know, just coming back. Be fun.
Absolutely. Well, Jesse McCartney, again, Better With You is out now. We'll look forward to the 4-track EP coming out before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year.
At some point. Any other plans for the rest of the year or no?
Just the tour. I'm touring through the end of July. My last date is in Los Angeles, but yeah, did that, and you know, and then just a bunch of college shows in the fall.
Awesome. Well, safe travels.
Thanks,
Best
Ralphie.
of luck, and thanks for watching, of course, online.